Okay, we're going to do a little bit of work on scales again, just to make sure that you understand what steps you need to take to build a scale and how you draw all of the things that we drew today in class and actually understand it. All right, so I've given you several starting notes here on this document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put up step 1, step 2, step 3, and you eventually are going to be answering some of these questions for me on this Ed puzzle. All right? So, step 1, I told you to draw in the ovals for each one of the notes. You are given 1, you need 7 more. And they have to go up line, space, line, space, line, space. All right, so make sure you don't skip anything. So here we go. Step 1, draw the ovals. All right, let's make sure we have enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 altogether, counting the first one that I gave you. The second thing you got to check, do you start and end on the same letter name? I believe we do. Step 2 that we're going to make is we're going to write down the letter names of each one of those letters underneath them. All right, that's step 2. Step 3 is to put in your whole steps and half steps. Remember our cheer? Very good. All right, now the whole steps and half steps. All right, there we go. We have done everything that we need to do to figure out what this scale is. This scale that starts on D. Now, I put a little keyboard in here because I don't know if any of you or all of you have keyboards at home. So we're going to look at this as we make our choices. Between D and E, there's D and E. We need a whole step. Between D and E, is that a whole step? Yes, it is, because there is a note in between. So we do not have to do anything to the E. This is a whole step right here. Now between E and F, we need that to be a whole step as well. Let's look in between down here. E and F. Is that a whole step? No, it is not. We cannot change the note to the left, so we have to change this one to be a whole step. That means we have to sharp it. Sharp, F sharp. All right, so we're going to come in here and we're going to get a sharp and we're going to put it on that note. All right, now we'll continue on. From F sharp to G, we need a half step. Let's look down here. F sharp to G. F sharp to G. Is that a half step? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we don't need to do anything to the G. Now from G to A, we need a whole step. G to A. There's a note in between, so that is a whole step. From A to B, is that a whole step? Yes, it is. So we don't have to do anything to the B. From B to C, is that a whole step? B to C. B to C. Nope, there's not any note in between, so that is a half step. So we have to change the C to a C sharp. We have to make that a bigger interval. All right, so let's put a C sharp in there. And notice how we did not make that a flat. Now, this is supposed to be a half step here. We can't change the last note, so we better hope it's a half step. Between C sharp and D, that is a half step. So we are done. This is the D major scale. If you listen to it, it sounds something like this. Very familiar. Sorry, there was one extra note there. Very familiar, kind of pleasant sounding thing. All right? Now, let's move down here to this guy. I don't know if I'll do all of these because I'm hoping that you're kind of getting the idea here. Step 1 on this one, Draw the circles. Exactly. There you go. Step 2 is to draw the letter names underneath. All right? If you start on an E flat, you got to end on an E flat. That's a gimme. All right. Now, step 2 is to put those whole steps and half steps in between, which, look, we have those right here. So we're going to set that all up. All right, now we're going to move this up so I can bring our keyboard out. Here we go. Move it down here. Between E flat and F, here's E flat and F. We need that to be a whole step. Is that a whole step? Yes, it is. There is one note in between, and that's this note right here. Between F and G, we need that to be a whole step. F, G. There's a note in between, so that is a whole step. From G to A, G to A, we need that to be a half step, but it's a whole step. You can't change this note, the one on the left. You have to change this one. So in order to make that a half step, you have to make it smaller. So you put it to A flat. Come back here. We will make that an A flat. All right, now back to our keyboard. Now, we're on A flat and we're going to B. Is that a whole step? Check this out. There are actually 2 keys in between there. That's not a whole step. That actually is 1, 2, 3 half steps, which is a step and a half whole step. Okay? We have from here to here is a whole step, but we added 1 extra. So if we took that and made that a B flat, check it out. From A flat to B flat would then be a nice little whole step. So we're going to make that B flat, and that is a whole step. All right. Now, from B flat to C, we want that to be a whole step. B flat to C, there's 1 note in between, so that already is a whole step. Don't have to do anything to this C. From C to D, that is supposed to be a whole step. C to D. It is a whole step, so we don't have to do anything to D. Now, from D to E flat, D to E flat, that is supposed to be a half step. It already is. There's nothing in between. All right? So this scale is done. All right?